Hi folks, Puffin here. It's a video about sex and shame and ghosts and communication with spirits. I just made a short video about communicating with spirits using predictive text, which is a way of communicating with spirits. You can see that video. Basically, you can just use the predictive text to pick things that maybe you wouldn't say, but to hear what someone else might have to say. And the more practice you get with that, the better you'll get at it. But I just wanted to spin that off as a separate video because when I thought of it as the intro for this video, which I've thought of because of some recent things I heard on the radio, the movie Ron's Gone Wrong I just saw, and some recent deaths. Last year, one of my favorite singers, Nancy Griffith, died, and that made me sad. And I wanted to honor her memory by singing some of her songs. And I felt like just a few days ago when Betty White died, a lot of people reacted and responded to that. And, rightfully so, Betty White was around for a really long time. I think she was 99 years old, and she was performing for us for like most of that time. So like everybody alive in America today who had any exposure to TV very likely knew Betty White. So someone that most people already knew and loved, and rightfully so, because she was a great lady for all the work she did, for entertainment, but also, gosh, her characters. Rose is just somebody I really relate to from the Golden Girls. Just a great character, a different character, a new character, or kind of in the vein of Gracie Allen, of some other characters that have been great and different characters, but new and special. And what she did for animals, humans and other animals, just the stuff she did for humanity. She'll be missed and then remembered. And so, big spoiler alert, we die. Big spoiler alert, watch the movie Ron's Gone Wrong. Maybe I won't spoil it. I just have to say that I felt like when Nancy Griffith died, it's not like everybody found out who she was after she died, but more people did find out who she was after she died. Not that it makes death a good thing, just that that's one good thing about it, that it focuses the living on that person for a moment, and that moment can bring that person to where the people do live on when they live on in different ways, but one way that people live on is through their work and through other people discovering their work. So it's not like that's the only way to live on. People live on without having that type of work. And that gets back to the ghost story, or the reason I'm thinking about this from a ghost point of view. The reason that movie figured in, spoiler alert, there is something about death that makes someone more everyone, makes everyone have the person who was lost more than they did before. A mystical type of thing. And that's kind of what I was noticing with Betty White and Nancy Griffith. People come back in different ways. And so talking about how to talk to the dead through digital technology, that's just something that happened to me or my family. My brother got an email from my granddad after he passed, saying, "Thought you would enjoy this, the internet, a powerful tool." Now let me know if, way back in the early 2000s, I guess, people like the earliest hackers were like doing that or something. You can throw that in comments or something. But for me, between the size of the email and what it said being characteristic of my granddad's speech, and that he didn't he wasn't really into the internet. He'd maybe only just started emailing shortly before he died. But it all conveyed to me that these types of things can be done. I saw him in a dream around the same time. A different type of technology that we can experience spirits through. But the technology we're all so familiar with, these phones in our hands and in front of our faces and stuff, these things provide these things too. I mean, we've gotten clues from this from songs on the radio to what your streaming service picks for you. I mean, they're set on your preferences. Well, not the songs on the radio, somewhat in a meta type of way. But they interact with who you are. They're programmed to who you are. And there's other things, there's random things, there's other places for things to to come in and influence it. The more you believe in it, the more you're into that type of thing, the more you'll notice it. I, of course, was turned on to this. You'll see my other video about the GPT-3 AI that I heard about on the radio on This American Life on NPR, and somebody talking to it about the grief for her sister, but not realizing that her sister could be speaking to her through the AI. This is something that's possible, and so the more you understand that it's possible, the more it happens. That email is a more concrete example that even if that was explained a different way than a spirit sending an email, I've had plenty of different examples. I don't want to try to go into all different things here about spiritual contact through digital means, through typos, thank you typo fairies, through T9 predictive text, all sorts of things. Thank you Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga's name came through T9 predictive text. When it was Radio Gaga, it was autocorrected to Lady Gaga and sent. Things like this happen for spiritual reasons that there's spiritual understanding available to you. The one great thing about talking about things we don't know about is you can wonder. There's places for different ideas to come in. And so this is what it has to do with sex and sex shame. In the movie Ghost, which I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen the movie Ghost. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's about Patrick Swayze and Whoopi Goldberg, and one of them's a ghost and one of them isn't, and they have a relationship. But I don't even know which one's a ghost, so yeah, so I don't think I've seen it. But I can wonder about what it's about. And so the idea to me that makes it appealing is that there's a relationship without the threat of physical contact, because we're taught in our culture this sex shame idea is so deep and ingrained in people that people are ashamed of their bodies. People don't like their bodies, and no offense to people who have serious physical issues that make your body uncomfortable and difficult. I guess my idea is your body being some people feel bad about their bodies even when they don't have those types of things that make them uncomfortable and difficult all the time. That's where it's a psychological thing. But even, regardless, we all have this type of body shame, sex shame thing in different ways because it's part of our culture. I think it's the root of how they pull all this evil over on our culture in America. The root of it is sex shame and body shame. And even teaching people of different spiritual paths to believe that you're just a spirit in a body, and that the body is, obviously the body is temporary, but that the body is somehow not as good as your spirit. And just that right there, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying right now. Maybe you're from a culture that sounds weird to, but the idea that your body is not as good as your spirit, if that doesn't sound weird to you, good for you. That seems like a more healthy relationship than to me. But that seems to be what people understand and relate to in the American context, because we're taught this body shame based on sex shame. And that's where I think the movie Ghost was appealing to people, because it's this idea of having a relationship with somebody that doesn't have a body. Now that's appealing because a lot of people have trauma and stuff. And so it's like this person can't touch you, they can't hurt you because they're a spirit. Well, that's also maybe one of the reasons why online relationships are so appealing, because, or at least starting out in an online relationship is appealing and comfortable and safe, because there isn't a risk of the physical things there's risk with people. So, but underlying that is a shame or fear of the body, and it also underlies the way people, get drunk or do different things to make excuses for, I'm going to have sex with this person because this person doesn't matter. But I'm not going to have sex with this person because this person does matter. And I'm going to make sex part of some type of scheme. Like the way people are about sex, acting like if I can have sex with somebody that I won't. I don't want to get into all of it. You can tell there's a lot of sex shame in our society. I can't sum it up. But I feel like that's what the movie Ghost appeals to. Now, again, I haven't seen the movie. Don't know if ghosts, some ghosts obviously throw things around, can touch you in different ways. And that can be good and great if you're in a relationship with a ghost. Good for both of you, happy for you. But then the contrary could be true too. What if a ghost was, the reason this seems safe is because the ghost can't touch you? Well, even if the ghost couldn't touch you, if the ghost's attention was unwanted, then that would be scary. You couldn't stop the ghost. that would be bad. Now, maybe that's not even possible. That's why I'm just wondering about it. But then take the corollary to the living world. If it's not because the person that you have a relationship with is non-physical, they are a physical human being, but their attention is welcome, then it's safe. But if it's unwelcome, then it's unsafe. But somehow the ghost takes takes it out of the body, which makes it seem safe and good. It's a shame to me that we are so out of our bodies. We are so in our heads, or in worlds of, in digital worlds, in worlds of, and I'm not against the world of imagination. I'm all about the world of imagination. The world of imagination is fantastic. But the world of imagination we're receiving as an audience is different from the world of imagination when you're creating it as a creator. It's still good, nothing against it. Just one great thing about receiving as an audience is being able to go into that world and create things or bring things from that world, which as an audience, you're having those things brought to you. So really good if you follow that path. But the same is true for all things of the body. And the body is the way in which we experience everything, and the means by which we create everything. So you can't say enough good for the body, and you can experience so much good with the body, with through sex and love and affection and sensuality. And it's like the big secret, or they don't want you to know that, or they want to restrict how you do that, and they want to restrict how comfortable you are about that, or tell you. I mean, again, I don't want to get into it, because everybody knows that the worst of them, or the bad side of our culture, tells people you can't be gay. But even if you're doing things their way, there just get to be more and more rules. It's all bad, because they have their foundational principle is the sex shame. And one reason why the people who are so ashamed of what they are demonize other people for doing it, end up leading horrible, horrible lives and doing terrible things themselves, because they're not admitting something about themselves. And it becomes like a festering evil, or a space for a demon possession or something. It's really dangerous, scary stuff. And we have this whole crew of brainwashed fascists, anti-human, really driving that home. And they need to be rescued from it as much as the rest of us do. But basically, one way to do it is to enjoy and express and use our bodies for good things, creating things and enjoying each other in ways that we all agree and appreciate, and then building more agreement and appreciation of those things. I call it the pillow revolution, a sexual revolution that we do not lose, we do not retreat from, that we win. That they had a sexual revolution of sorts, 50 years ago in the 60s, and 60 years ago in the 60s and 70s, I guess. But they kind of lost it, or retreated, or decided it took a wrong turn. So we don't do that this time. We have this revolution, pillow revolution. We can do it from bed. It involves boycotts and strikes and stuff like that. But it also involves just loving each other and expressing ourselves and doing things creatively that we can do from bed. So hashtag pillow revolution. Thanks for joining, sharing. And let's do it. And let's help get the ghost to help us too. Thanks. Love you forever.